You are standing on a floating airbase in the middle of the ocean. Around you, billions of dollars worth of fighter jets sit on a steel deck that is constantly moving beneath your feet. Now imagine the sky turning black. Winds begin to scream past you at hurricane force. Waves taller than buildings start crashing against the hull. And suddenly, every one of those jets becomes a liability instead of an asset. Because the ocean does not care how advanced your aircraft are, it does not care how powerful your military is, and it definitely does not care how much money is sitting on that flight deck. So the real question is simple. When a massive storm hits, how does the US Navy make sure those aircraft do not end up at the bottom of the ocean? Stick with me, because what you are about to hear is not just about technology. It is about lessons written in tragedy, procedures built over decades, and a level of discipline that most people never see. Before we go deeper, I want you to think about this for a second. If you were in charge of a carrier loaded with jets, would you try to outrun a storm or face it head-on? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to see how you think. Here is where it begins. Long before a storm ever touches a carrier, the battle has already started. And that battle is fought with information. Every US Navy aircraft carrier has a team on board whose entire job is to watch the sky, the sea, and everything in between. These are not just weather reporters. These are highly trained military meteorologists who monitor satellite feeds, ocean data, atmospheric pressure changes, and storm models around the clock. You are not guessing when a storm might hit. You are tracking it days in advance, sometimes even longer. And here is what makes it even more powerful. The ship is not working alone. There are global weather centers feeding constant updates, refining predictions, and giving commanders a clearer picture every few hours. That means by the time a storm becomes dangerous, the Navy has already been watching it grow. But knowing a storm is coming is only half the battle. The first move is always the smartest one: avoid it. Modern aircraft carriers are not slow. They can move fast, over 30 knots, which is more than enough to reposition when needed. So if there is room to maneuver, the carrier will simply steer clear of the storm's path. Sounds simple, right? But here is where reality kicks in. Sometimes you cannot leave. You might be in the middle of a critical mission. You might be supporting operations that cannot stop. Or the storm might grow so fast that there is no clear path around it. That is when everything changes. And this is where the real system begins. If you are still watching, type "storm ready" in the comments. I want to know who is locked in right now. The moment a storm becomes unavoidable, the entire ship shifts into a completely different mode. Everything you see on that flight deck starts to change. Under normal conditions, aircraft are positioned near the edges of the deck. That makes launches faster and operations smoother. But in a storm, the edges are the most dangerous place on the ship. One strong roll, one powerful gust. That is all it takes for a jet to slide or get pushed overboard. So the first move is immediate. Every aircraft gets repositioned toward the center of the deck. So what does the Navy do? They angle the ship. Instead of going directly into or against the waves, the carrier positions itself at a diagonal. This spreads the force across the hull and reduces both pitching and rolling. It might sound like a small adjustment, but it makes a massive difference. Now add speed into the equation. Go too fast and the ship slams harder into waves. Go too slow and you lose control. So the speed is constantly adjusted. Not once, not twice, constantly. And then there is balance. Inside the ship are ballast tanks. These are compartments that can be filled with seawater. If the ship starts leaning to one side, water is shifted to the opposite side to counterbalance it. This helps stabilize the ship and keep the deck as level as possible. On top of that, modern carriers have stabilizer systems built into the hull that actively reduce rolling motion. All of this is happening at the same time. Heading, speed, balance, stabilization. Every system working together to keep control in the middle of chaos. And here is the part that matters most. None of this works without the people. If you have made it this far, hit that like button. It helps more than you think, and it tells me you want more content like this. Because behind all this technology are sailors doing one of the toughest jobs on the planet. When storm protocols are active, flight operations stop completely. No launches, no landings. The risk is just too high. The flight deck is cleared of everyone except essential crew. The people who stay are the ones securing aircraft and equipment, working in conditions that most people would never step into. You are dealing with high winds, slippery surfaces, and a deck that is constantly moving under your feet. Below deck, the rest of the crew is just as busy. Every loose item is secured. Every piece of equipment is locked down. Tools, gear, anything that could move becomes a hazard if not handled properly. And here is what separates professionals from amateurs. They are not figuring this out in the moment. They have practiced it, over and over again. By the time a real storm hits, every crew member knows exactly what to do. No confusion, no hesitation, just execution. Now let's talk about why all of this exists in the first place. Because it was not always like this. Back in 1944, something happened that changed everything. A powerful typhoon caught a US Navy fleet off guard. They did not have the tracking technology we have today. They did not have the warning systems, and they sailed straight into it. The result was devastating. Ships were lost. Hundreds of sailors died, and around 150 aircraft were destroyed in a single night. Not by enemy fire, by the ocean. That event became a turning point. Every procedure you see today, every safety measure, every piece of training has roots in lessons learned from disasters like that. Fast forward to today, and the difference is clear. Modern carriers have faced powerful storms and come through without losing aircraft. Not because they got lucky, because they were prepared. And here is something that might surprise you. In recent years, when aircraft have been lost from carriers, it has not been because of storms. It has been due to operational incidents. That tells you just how effective these storm procedures have become. But here is the truth. The ocean is never underestimated. Every storm is treated seriously. Every preparation is taken seriously. Because the moment you stop respecting the sea is the moment it reminds you why you should. Let me ask you something. Do you think any technology can ever fully eliminate the risk of the ocean? Or is there always going to be danger, no matter how advanced we get? I want to hear your thoughts. As we come to the end of this, step back and look at the bigger picture. An aircraft carrier is more than just a ship. It is a symbol of power, precision, and capability. But behind that symbol is something even more important. People. People who train for years. People who operate in extreme conditions. People who make sure that when the storm comes, the ship, the aircraft, and everyone on board make it through. That is what keeps billions of dollars in equipment safe. That is what keeps missions alive. And that is what defines the US Navy. If you found this breakdown valuable, make sure you subscribe so you do not miss what is coming next. Because in the next video, we are going even deeper into what really happens behind the scenes on these floating air bases. And trust me, you are not going to want to miss it.